about censorship?
I don't know anything. I never heard.
I think censorship is good, but also bad at the same time. In like, with governmental things, I feel like the public should know things instead of censoring it from the public. But in music, I think it's good for children. Yeah. Okay.
I believe that free speech is very useful to a community.
I'd have to think about this. I don't know, it was, well, if somebody's giving a talk or something and they're censoring it first to make quite sure that not all the information is given out. Well, it depends on who you're talking to, I guess, and if you censor something, and I couldn't say specifically, I'd have to have an example or something, and I can't think of right off the top of my head of an example.
Oh, well, yeah, I guess it's not good because it restricts, like, information, right? So then people are not as informed, so they're not allowed to, like, think as freely as they want.
It's not something I've thought a lot about.
I think to an extent it's necessary, like for certain, like I said, everyone has the right to their own opinions, but then when it comes to the point that that opinion is just pure hate and you're dismissive of other people's views, then it might be necessary.
Okay.
I think censorship is useless because I feel that it's good to say what you want to say, to express your feelings.
Based on the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, you have the right to think what you want, to say what you like, and nobody should forbid you from doing so. You should be able to share your ideas also, with people from any other country.
Of free press have one thing in common. Only their opinion matters, and they must have full control over the entire media.
أنا الصحفي حسن الزيدي أحمل جواز سفر ألماني. I think of you all and each of you every day.
I'm journalist in Liberation. Please, help me.
Just about 90% of all the journalists killed in the world are local journalists covering local stories who, for whatever reason, gets together the courage to go up against the powers that be and pays the ultimate price. He gets killed.
It's a sad year, really, for press freedom because this is one of the worst years in the history of CPJ for attacks on the press. In fact, the numbers of journalists behind bars and the number of journalists who have been killed in 2012 is a record for us.
Censorship on the press is much involved with social justice because the journalists represent those living in a society in which they are not allowed the right to the freedom of speech.
Journalists are committed to the belief that a free and independent press is the red beating heart of freedom and democracy. Why do journalists do it? Because we see it as a duty. We see it as a life's work. It's a calling. We do it because we think it matters.
Understand our surroundings, to know why things happen, to know why people do what they do, and to share that information with others. That is a basic human impulse. And it is such a powerful, powerful urge that governments have to expend enormous energy and creativity to suppress it. But as long as there's human society, there will be people who act on this urge and feel it so intensely that they will overcome whatever obstacles put in their path to do this.
There are journalists around the world who go to work every day not knowing if they're going to be kidnapped or beaten or killed. And why do they do that? I've met journalists who've lost both legs, to car bombs. I've met journalists whose every colleague has been in prison. I've met journalists who've been given 20-year sentences by their own government for telling the truth. Why do they do that? Because they know how important it is. You cannot have a free society without a free press. I believe that firmly. They believe it too.
We may think that censorship is absent in our society, but in fact, it exists all around us.
For centuries, writers around the globe have faced varying degrees of persecution for expressing themselves in their books. And if you think democratic countries like Canada and the U.S. are immune, think again.
5 of my novels for teenagers have been banned over the past decade.
And my book Feed has been banned and challenged.
People have challenged or attempted to censor almost every teen book I've written.
My books have been banned in school districts around the country.
Every week I get an email from somebody saying, they're trying to take the book off the shelf.
And at least 3 of my books have been banned. All of my books have been banned or censored somewhere.
And I've had many books challenged.
As long as there have been books, there have been people who tried to ban books. The first interested party is always the government, which wants subversive literature removed. But the second, of course, used to be the forces of religion. Then it became more general, removing anything sexual, anything naughty. There's a new impetus which is quite strong in our own period, which is to take out anything that is, I have to say it, politically incorrect, anything that could offend someone from any of the disadvantaged minorities.
Living with censorship is like living without a voice, and as a result, living in blindness to many events in our world. Together, we can raise awareness about this subject, and we can contribute in aiding those affected by censorship to finally be heard.
You and I